Meantime, there is growing outrage today over a Pentagon decision that could possibly lead to court-martials of soldiers and even military chaplains for sharing their faith. The ban on proselytizing comes after an atheist organization met with Air Force officials demanding that soldiers who spend too much time talking about Jesus be booted from the military. Pete Hegseth is CEO of Concerned Veterans for America, and the group that pushed for this is called the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, that said U.S. troops who proselytize, basically preach and try to spread the faith, are guilty of sedition and treason, and we have to stop this, quote, horrible, horrendous, dehumanizing behavior. The Air Force didn't say, get out. They said, you may have a point. Tell us.
Well, I don't want to give any credit to this group bringing the charge. He also equated sharing your faith with sexual assault and rape, calling it spiritual rape. Who's the person bringing this case? Pentagon never should have allowed them in the Pentagon to talk about it. They're anti-Christian zealots. End of story. But however, the story that has come out of that meeting is that the DOD has changed its policy completely, and I think it's a little early, and there's a lot of speculation at this point about whether there is a change at all. I've got two statements from the DOD here that I've read thoroughly, and they're defending that their policy has not changed yet. It is you are free to share your faith, free to talk with others. You obviously can't and never have been able to use your position to coerce, to force conversions, to put undue influence on subordinates. You've never been able to do that. But nothing within the DOD regulations today restrict your ability to share your faith. Chaplains, a lot of my commanders have been very religious. It's something that's infused in the bond of a unit oftentimes, but they've never forced it down anyone's throat. The worry here would be, is this a trial balloon for more restrictions? I hope that's not the case.
The regulation seems to be, and by the way, this group is very controversial, as you point out. Tony Perkins of the Family Research Council, who advocates on behalf of, Christian values, that kind of thing, more conservative Christian values, calls this one of the most rabid atheist groups in America. He said it's like consulting with China on how to improve human rights, to be talking to them about religious freedom in the military. The military, their regulation, as far as I can see, Pete, comes out, it says you have to have government neutrality regarding religion, and they're supposed to balance constitutional protections for free exercise of religion and the prohibition against too much government interference. So it's not like you're supposed to say, no religion, period. We don't want to hear about religion. Don't speak about religion. Don't tell us if you're religious. You just can't really preach it and try to force it on others, the way I read it.
Well, the statement even says you can evangelize. So if you want to evangelize and talk with fellow soldiers and share your faith and why it's important to you in the context of why you wear the uniform or just as a person, you can do that. It's just going that next level of using your position to coerce subordinates or to force conversions or say the only faith we recognize here is a Christian faith.
Is that happening?
I serve with Christians. No, not very often. I mean, sure, you'll have a one-off here of a commander here or there that's a little too forceful, but usually that's just somebody being stupid. At the end of the day, you've got Christians and Muslims and Jews. And it's a very diverse environment that are standing alongside each other of different faiths oftentimes. But the majority, obviously, at this point in the military are Christians, so there are more Protestant and Catholic chaplains than there are of other faiths, but those chaplains, even them, aren't pressing or pushing those of other faiths to convert. That's just not something that's happening across the board.
The Pentagon apparently met with this group, and it's the person who speaks for them, Weinstein, in connection with other people too. It wasn't just Mickey Weinstein. It was some other, or Mikey, whatever you pronounce his name, Weinstein. They met with a bunch of groups, and he was one of them. But this guy's message is, to allow folks to proselytize, they're creating tyranny, oppression, degradation, humiliation, and horrible, horrible pain among members of the military. He calls it a national security threat. Why are we meeting with such a... I mean, like, there are atheists who make their point rationally and in a way that's persuasive, and we can all understand. What do you make of it?
Well, I don't know. The door has been opened to some strange folks under this administration that have been given access at times that I don't think would have been given access by other administrations. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Weinstein requested this meeting, not the other way around, that they probably shouldn't. There's no reason they should have done it, and I hope the military pushes back forcefully and recognizes how important faith is, not imposing it on anybody.
Pete, thank you. Up next, North Korea just sentenced an American to